Hello everybody, welcome back to my stream. I know that there's been some issues today with streaming, so hopefully this works. Probably do in about an hour. Let's look at some of the group's questions. This one we looked at the last time we answered it. Question about design. I have no experience with SharePoint. Yeah, so hi everyone. I have a question about design. I have no experience with SharePoint and the classic editor is sufficient for my main page. Gosh, where's my volume? Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to find my volume on my. Getting a lot of feedback. I know you probably can't, but in my ear. Anyway, for my main page design, do you know how to customize the homepage using another editor or code? I'm sending you a wireframe on how I imagine the homepage should look. If you're not doing this because you have a requirement, you should stop having that requirement. What are those blocks where it matters? Because if they're linking to things, just use quick links. Webpart and the grid layout in the single column section may get you close to what you want. So I agree with many of these comments, but my suggestion would be to try to design SharePoint with some of the out-of-the-box features. So I'm gonna put this that I string this on 124. Anyway, so for design, what I typically do is I'll go to Google, and I type in Microsoft Lookbook. And what you'll find here is you will find templates that you can leverage that are basically SharePoint centric, using a lot of the out-of-box features. Well, one of the things that I like is, like for instance, you can go to organizational home. You can see how it's laid out. Okay, so this looks like this is a news web part, the minified version of the news web part. This is the location and time. But if you don't know, if you want to do, so I've talked about this before, you can become a developer. You can get a free development instance of SharePoint and you can deploy this to a SharePoint site. So let's just say, so if I go and I say I want to, let's look at crisis management. I want to look at a kind of one that looks really fancy. Nady, don't do that. No. Sorry. So let's go back to the lookbook. I like this one that's for an event. It looks really clean. What is this? Retail management. This is another one. Project management. But let's go to the event one. Let's just say this event one. Okay. Let's see what this leadership connection one has. That one looks too bland. What about this one? That was too bland. But department. Let's go to view all SharePoint templates. What is Learning Central? There's one that I really like. Volunteer Central. This is a nice one. So let's just say you want to deploy this as an example. Okay. If you have an instance of SharePoint, you can actually deploy this to your SharePoint site, to an actual site on your tenant. And I believe I thought there was a button that you could push to have this put into SharePoint. Let's go back to the lookbook. Communication and team sites. These are the team versions. Maybe they took that feature away. It used to be that you could actually deploy this to your SharePoint site, but it doesn't look like it's there anymore. So it doesn't look like you're able to do that anymore. But some of the things that I would recommend, from, going back to the question as far as design, is don't think a little bit outside the box with the out of the box web parts that are available in SharePoint. So for instance, this is the home page, this could be considered a home page. If I edit the page, there's a lot of things that you can do. For example, you can actually create a background image for this section. So you could find, for the section, you can go to design and you can add a background. So let's just say you have a web background images, for example, and let's just say you find something like, let's just go to all images here. So let's just say that you want to use this image. So copy image address. Okay. So on the web part, you can add a background. Well, let's just save the image. And it has watermark, so maybe that's not a good one. Let's try something different. Does this one have a watermark? Obviously, I would suggest you find free ones. Let's just say purple image. Save. And then you can just upload. Where did I save that at? Did I save it here? Save image as. It was saved to source Jetpack assets. Okay, so upload. Right here. So that's going to put this image into your site assets, where you can see that the image is here, and then you can add web parts here. So you can add, like, for instance, call to action, and you still have that nice background in the back, and you can make this not have an image, I believe. Background image change. You might be able to just use the same. Once it's in your site, you can actually use site. So, and then you can have something like that in the image. I mean, within the image. But what I'm basically trying to say is that you can find ways to design by making sure that you not only use the web parts, but you use those background images to give it a little bit more depth. And you can find images that are a little bit more, you know, like waves, like it's white on one part, a different color on it. Like for instance, this, you see how it has like a little bit of a wave, and it gives it a little bit more depth to the site. And I've seen some people create some really, really nice sites, just using the standard out of the box backgrounds and images. So that would be my recommendation, is using those options. I wish that I could find one as an example, because like right here you can see that if they put like this blue background, white background, a little bit of a darker blue background, but there's been some that I've seen where they kind of really make it look really nice, utilizing some kind of customized background for that little piece or that little section. So my recommendation is don't try to build something custom for SharePoint. It's not really built to be a website. It's built more for collaboration, internal scenarios. Gone are the days where you had SharePoint on premises where you could do stuff like that. You could build an entire site. I remember Chili's used to be on a SharePoint site, but way back in the day, the Chili's website, several others were also on SharePoint. So there's various iterations, various things that you can do to make it look really nice. But yeah, look at these templates. That would be my recommendation. Look and see how they did a lot of the things here. I'm trying to find, there's one that really stands out to me. I was thinking to myself, like, man, they really thought outside the box for this one, but I cannot find it. I looked at the team sites, and let's look at communications. Like even this, you can see that they put a different background and then they just use this hero Webpart. And if not, I mean, if you want to create custom stuff, then just watch my stream, and you know, maybe we can think of web parts we can build together that you find that would be beneficial from a, you know, from a design perspective. I'm not a designer, unfortunately. I wish that I had more of a eye for design, but that's what I would, that's my recommendation. This is PnP PowerShell. I don't really want to touch on PnP PowerShell stuff. Let's see what else we have. So for this one, employee record site, my recommendation would be Power Automate. Because with Power Automate, you can break inheritance on an item, and then you can actually use the 365 user, as long as the organization has that hierarchy built in where they're keeping track of the managers. You can actually have a scenario where it breaks inheritance, removes all the permissions that are on that item, and then you specifically design who you want to have access to that. But again, I don't really do too much of that. SharePoint Administrator. A lot of these are unfortunately ads. People, if you want to learn Power Platform. SharePoint developers and administrators. I answered some of these last time. I know I saw some people laughing at this one. He's like, oh, just give me the code. I just want to copy and paste it. This is actually not a bad or hard thing to do, honestly. And I touched a little bit on that one last time as well. Yeah, I think I'm gonna let this go and go back to my development stuff. So let's get going. Let's continue with the development that I was working on before. So here, let's delete this. And the issue that I was having on the last time is that when I click on configure, it opens this panel, but it's not saving anything. So if I add my topic, I add my question, I select the layout that I want, and I click on save configuration, it's not saving. Set configuration is not a function. Well, this is odd. Set configuration is not a function, huh? I wonder if I open the settings and then go here and I go to save configuration, I'm still getting the same error. Set configuration is not a function. Set configuration, it's right there. And here we're passing it to the topics. How about that? It's not actually doing anything. So let's go back. Save configuration. Let's go find out where save. So here's the configuration panel. Handle save. Set configuration. It's saying that this is not a function. Where is set configuration coming from? It's coming in as a prop here to the configuration panel. And let's find where the configuration panel is at. Yeah, it's going to give us that error because set configuration is never passed anywhere. And the set configuration panel, I believe, is probably in default layout. Oh, wait. This is why I'm not finding it anywhere. Let's look at what I'm searching for. Yeah, it's in default layout. So set configuration is here, here, and here. So default layout should have it. Okay, so where's default layout coming from? In the FAQ Webpart. Set configuration. It is using it. FAQ Webpart has it. And let's go into this. Set configuration goes into FAQ Webpart. Let's try this again. Let's see. Save string is this. Set configuration is undefined. Let's go do some digging in my components and see what's going on. Okay, go to components. Oh boy, let me refresh it. If I select this, Oh, now it's giving me this error. Great. Try again. Wait, is it because... No, it's running. I think this has to do with this half the version of the framework. Start. Anyway, it should be working. I don't know why set configuration is not working. Because this FAQ web part opens this element. See, and once again, this is so painful. Upgrading this web part to the newest version of SharePoint framework has been really painful to work with. I'm really regretting having done that. This 1.2.1 is, ever since I did this, my web part doesn't work. I've changed absolutely nothing, and now I can't figure out why. Let's see if AI has any clue why I would be getting this error. Clear this. Inspect. Console. Clear the console. Now it's working. Wow. As soon as I said I'm gonna get AI to help me, it works again. Don't know if I configure. That's hilarious. Save configuration is still undefined. You know what I think it is? I think the issue is that, well, no. At first I was thinking maybe it's there's an issue with, any idea why? So what I was thinking initially is maybe because of this React Lazy, but the React Lazy is only because for the fork configuration. Hmm. I have I have a feeling that it is because of the lazy loads. Just something tells me that the lazy loading is the issue. We'll find out. I'm not gonna give it the idea because then sometimes what I find with AI, if I tell it like, oh, I'm having a, I'm thinking that it might be because of lazy loading, it'll go down that path and it'll somehow try to rationalize that that's the issue. A small cup of coffee. I think what's gonna have to happen is I'm going to have to change the panel. Instead of using the, oh, it sure is. I didn't, it's not part of the properties. Gosh. No wonder. I can't believe I dropped the ball on that one like that. And now we have this issue again. This just sucks. I hate that this is happening every single time now with this new version of SharePoint framework where my web parts don't work anymore. The application. Let me approve this. Login. Yes. Yes. I hate that I can't get rid of one of my one of the web parts that shows up. It does not go away no matter what I do. I'm still seeing two. And because I don't know which one it is, I'm gonna have to change it for now. Eventually I'll try to figure out how I can get rid of that. So to change it, we have to go into the manifests. It's down here. And let's call this V2. Actually, no. Title. Title. Properties, description, title. Let's call this version 2, like that. And now because I did that, I'll have to go into app catalog. Apps for SharePoint. And let's remove the old one. I wonder if there's link deploy. Let's just delete it. And let's go to the recycle bin and get rid of it too. Okay, so recycle bin is gone. All right, so now here, we have to rebuild it. We gotta clean. We run build. Package solution. All right. Go to the app catalog, drop it here. Deploy it. And now here, you have to run start. All right, we can close this. And now we can edit the page. Add. Here we go. See, now we can tell which one's which. And now we can just target this one. I need to figure out also a way to keep it from doing the provisioning every time. Once we've done the provisioning once on this site, there's really no need. Is it saving now? I think it is saving now. Yay, it is. Okay, good. That was the issue. And now if I close it, and I publish the page, there you go. It's working again. There's obviously some things that I still need to fix. I still need to fix the ability for it to determine whether it's already been provisioned before and not have to provision it again. There are several things that still need to be fixed on this. But Yeah, anyway, so I need to work on that. Let's see if we can fix some of those things. So this should not be showing up this way. Configure FAQs. So configure the FAQs should not show up. Oh, it shows up because I'm in edit view. Once I get out of edit view, it shows the web part the normal way, which is what we want. Yeah, so sorry, my dogs. Yeah, so when we go to edit, because we're in edit view, it should only show the web part in that format where it just goes to configure. But what I'm more concerned about is the fact that every time we put one on here, it loads. So let's open up default layout. Close this. If it equals edit, it runs a loader. If display mode is not equal to edit, if it is equal to edit, it should show configure the FAQ, which is what we see right now. But why is it that when we drop it, we always see the provision assets? Provision. So I guess it's in this file that we need to look. You can close this for now. So in this file, here we go. So is provision is not true, so that's why it shows provision required. But is provision, why is it always false? So this, we need to figure out a way to determine whether it's been provisioned before or not. I don't know that I want to open that kind of worms right now. To be honest, that's gonna take quite a bit of time because this provision needs to do we need to do a check. And this provision is coming in as a prop, which means that it's provisioned. It's coming from this TS file. So, because it's a prop right here. So when this loads, the web part loads here on init. We need to create a function that determines if this Webpart is provisioned. And to do that, let's open the provisioning API. This one right here. And we gotta just find if the list exists. This is gonna return true or false. And so after we get the SP on the init object, then we need to check if list exists. And let's just say FAQ list. And let's put a wait. Oh, we already have it. So now when we refresh it, let's delete the web part and let's re-add it. See, it doesn't go to that anymore. Before, every single time it would go to it. We can always have like a cleanup button that you can put somewhere that says, hey, maybe you deleted a few, you messed around and you broke stuff. You deleted lists, you deleted columns, and now you need to reconfigure it again. We can add like an admin section to the web part that allows them to just clean everything up and just basically have a disclaimer saying, hey, doing this is going to get rid of everything. It's going to clean everything. And then you can always reconfigure the web part to work again without that. So it turned out to be easier than I thought it would be. Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. And now we can just configure the web part. I still think that this could technically be part of the main. What I mean by that is, like, if I click here, I think we can extend this over to this side. And instead of having this and this, we can just have one side panel. This side panel shifts all the way to the left. And you don't have to click on configure. You just basically click on this button right here and this opens. And then you'd be able to leverage this easier. And I think that that's going to be the best way to do this. So yeah. I will touch on that next time. We went through some stuff on Facebook for the SharePoint group. We answered some questions there. We fixed several issues with the code. And now we just, what is this? Let's go to groups. We fix some things with the code. What is that in the architects? More courses stuff. The best thing you could do if you really want to learn Power Automate is just work on Power Automate. Learn the lingo. Excel's a link with PowerPoint. When the charts are updated in Excel, they're not updating in PowerPoint. Yeah, I don't really, that's out of my wheelhouse. Some more development. What else do we have? Technology. This is what I was talking about. This is probably a good idea for this guy to look at, the one that was asking about the design. Because if, you know, the design, if there's question about design, it'd be good to just use out of the box features instead of trying to code something, you know, from scratch. It's not a good idea to try, you know, build things from scratch when SharePoint doesn't really lend itself to do that. So you're somehow wasting your time doing things like that. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it for me today. Continue on next time as we work on you know, making this Webpart better. Hopefully, you know, you learn some things along the way. And if you have any questions, please ask me. Follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and please join me. I'm more than happy to answer questions live. If you watch this as a recording, I'm always happy to help. So with that, I guess I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.